Fernando Tatis Jr. left tonight's Padres game after appearing to injure something in his left arm or shoulder after this swing. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Sutterer, and this is your #1 source for learning about the unique medical side of the world of sports. My initial concern looking at the swing and knowing Tatis's injury history is that he could have a shoulder joint subluxation or dislocation, and in this video, we'll walk through why that would be at the top of my differential. As always, if you enjoyed learning about this unique side of sports, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that thumbs up button if you learned something, and let's get started. This was the swing where Tatis was injured, and pay attention here, of course, to his left arm, because I suspect that it was here on the follow through of his swing where the injury occurred. As he follows through here, his left upper limb gets put in a position that's compromising for someone to have shoulder joint instability. Essentially here, as his left arm comes back, that's going to be going into a little bit of extension and also abduction with it raised out from his body. Then as he follows through, whenever the hand sort of turns over, as that bat comes further back, eventually you can see here how his elbow starts to rotate to where now it's pointing upwards. That's external rotation of the humerus. So in this position, he's got a combination of external rotation, abduction, and extension, which is the trifecta of what we see that can lead to shoulder joint dislocations or subluxations. Even at the very end of the swing here, just as he's about to let go of the bat, it's even more severe with those three specific positions that can lead to that shoulder injury. Now his elbow can certainly be stressed in this position. I don't think it looks like he hyperextends it. It looks like he maintains a pretty neutral degree of movement there at that elbow without severe over straightening. So we still have to ask about things like elbow problems, wrist, hand, but at the top of my differential would be that shoulder. It's been reported that Tatis Jr. has been dealing with shoulder injuries for a long time in his career, and there's been specific mention of shoulder joint instability, meaning a tendency for the humerus to shift around to want to come out of place of the shoulder joint. Knowing that, anytime we see an athlete with an injury where their shoulder was in a compromising position to lead to a possible dislocation, that's going to be at the top of my concerning list. The concern with repetitive shoulder subluxations is injury to specifically the labrum of the shoulder joint. First off, when you hear shoulder separation, that basically involves the acromioclavicular or AC joint at the top of the shoulder. The true shoulder joint is the glenohumeral joint. If I hide my rotator cuff muscles here, basically we can then get down and see that glenohumeral joint right here in this area. The structure that I'm highlighting in green is the labrum. It's this rim of tissue that goes around the glenoid to help provide some additional stability to keep that ball of the humerus in place. As we get into that position, especially with the momentum of the swing carrying backward, it causes a force to be generated that makes the humerus want to displace or push forward, which can then shear on that labrum as it subluxes in the joint. Also, the more that this happens, the more likely it is to continue happening, and so it can become a really frequent problem for athletes. If this is what's going on, the big decision is, when do you operate? Most players will try to wait until the season is over, because if you operate in the middle of the season, it can often be season ending. So we'll see what the final word is on Tatis Jr. I hope this was educational to kind of walk you through the things that we're thinking about as the doctors kind of looking at these situations, and personally what would be at the top of my differential, given his history and given that position that his arm's in on the swing. Let me know, as always, any questions or comments down below, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.